All right. Welcome to the November 24th AnonCreds Working Group meeting of 2025. We're recording. This is a Linux Foundation meeting. So the Linux Foundation antitrust policy is in effect, which is on your screen, as is the Linux Foundation Decentralized Trust Code of Conduct. The one thing I wanted to bring up was as an agenda was the European ZKP efforts and what I've been hearing about.
Hmm.
Uh, I've been talking to Christian Borman, um, and had some good conversations with him about sort of where they're going, and then back and forth with the folks at Digital Bazaar and so on. So I just wanted to bounce it off you and get your reactions to it. So the Longfellow ZK approach is out there and available for MDocs MDL. My sort of feeling is that MDL, the single credential type of the MDL, the mobile driver's license that is available for things like travel and age verification is going to happen. And so, and regardless of the jurisdiction, MDL will be there, but I don't find anybody who's at any jurisdiction that's sort of adopting MDocs beyond MDL. They're adopting MDL as their driver's license, but that's it.
Mm.
And so my feeling is that everybody's going to do that. Um, Either they're not going to have any other credentials, they're just going to have MDL and that'll be it. And a bunch of US states will probably be in that category. And then anyone who creates a ecosystem of credential types is going to use something else. And the MDL will sort of be on the side. And so what I'm trying to do is promote the use of Longfellow because it works as they've defined it now with MDL. And if we can just get, sort of buy-in from academics and so on the use of that, then we get ZKs a in a very broadly distributed single use case, like single credential type. So that would be a good thing. Thoughts? Any reaction to that, or is that?
Mm, My reaction is I am not aware of Longfellow.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
This is Matteo and Abi's zero knowledge proof stuff. You know about it.
oh,
Okay, I
the
just
Google stuff. Okay, I
didn't
thought
know
so.
that name. I didn't know that name. Okay,
Yeah,
got it.
okay.
Um, well, I think it's great work, the Longfellow stuff.
Yeah.
I have had some discussions, particularly with Matteo, about this. That mm, I would like to see somehow the the proof of possession of device, which I understand is sort of mandatory for
Yeah.
EU, um, and a generally useful thing. I would like to see it, and you know the work that we've been doing on abstractions and being able to plug in a sort of broader range of zero knowledge proof features. I would like to see the possibility of bridging from those to other features. And so the thing that I'm most sort of interested in and excited about most recently is and it's longer term, but it's
Hmm.
the paper. Unfortunately, I can only remember one author, which is Anya Lehman, and it's
Yeah.
the vision paper.
Yes,
Um, I think we talked about this last month, but I hadn't looked at it yet. Now I've looked at
exactly.
it in some degree
Okay.
of detail, and I'm excited about that. I think that's a really interesting way to go. And we've talked about ideas along those lines before. We've talked about this idea of hybrid, but
Yeah,
I think that well, before reading Anya's paper and others, um, I thought that I knew how to do it as long as all of the things are in the same curve. I didn't really know how to bridge across curves, but reading
yeah,
that paper, um, now I learn that, smarter and more qualified people than I have done a lot of work in that area, and that um, there's approaches to deal with that. And so I would like to see that sort of flexibility and sort of modular approach, whether it's Longfellow supporting bridges to other curves, or the other alternative is something along the lines of that vision. Um, because I want to see features that I think are important that might not be Google's highest priority. For example, verifiable encryption, I think is something we'd really like to make
right.
practical use, and I don't think it's on their agenda. And
Hmm.
um, so that's just, I'm very interested to see how this plays out, but quite uh, encouraged by seeing that vision paper and learning about some of the techniques mentioned there, and in particular finding out that in the Doc Network crypto repo, there's actually an implementation of of one specific instantiation of that idea, bridging BBS signatures with ECDSA.
Really?
Yeah, and it's
Okay.
there and implemented, and there's tests that I've been looking into. Um, and it was quite surprising to me to find that because I do follow that repo, and hadn't seen a pull request about it. But looking through the commit history, it seems like there wasn't a pull request; it just got pushed there, so I missed it. But it's been there since like February or March or something this year.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, that's kind of my frame of mind at the moment, I suppose.
Okay, so let me come back to Longfellow. Um, so the way as I said, I see MDL as a single thing. The general feeling from Christian and the folks he's working with is Longfellow's EK is too complex. The circuits are too difficult to prove and things like that, which is why, and they have to be recreated for every format and so on. But that's why I sort of see, well, if we have that for MDL, we don't have to change anything in MDL, and we could have zero knowledge presentations. That would be very powerful. But you're right, and that's where I was going next, was that the other things, you do get proof of possession with that Longfellow's EK,
Yeah.
selective disclosure and linkability. But you're right, and that's where the rest of this sort of goes to, which is, but the way we want to do for more general ecosystems of credentials is BBS, because then you get the ability to prove the general approach at the cryptographic level. You get a proof that, what do they call it? A security proof of the technology. Whereas with Longfellow, you're going to have a hard time getting that, and you got to do it every time anything changes in the format. So that's
What do you
why I see this would be really good, because we don't have to do anything to change the MDL side, and we've got a Longfellow implementation, and we can focus on, hopefully get cryptographers and others focusing on the validity of what Longfellow does. But we don't have to have it mess with other credential types and formats and all the other messiness around it. So yes, BBS plus proof of possession with the ECDSA bound proof. That's really interesting that .NETworks has that already.
I wanted to clarify something. So
Yeah.
using Longfellow with MDL, is your main point there basically just that it seems like a, a good adoption strategy? It's not the end point,
Yes.
but a good adoption strategy.
Yeah. So my feeling is, as I say, that MDL, regardless of what happens in the rest of the space, MDL, like mobile driver's license, that literal single credential type, will be in all jurisdictions because it'll be used to go to a bar in Barcelona and a pub in Wellington
Yay.
and and so on. So and to travel to Utah. Um, so having Longfellow there and having it work with MDL, this is a good thing. But yeah, but Longfellow is too complicated for the other stuff. So the other stuff we want to use the much more flexible BBS with proof of possession, pseudonymous identifiers, and ideally the ability to do predicates, equality, verifiable encryption, and so on.
All right. When you say the other stuff, what do you mean other stuff? Just
Um,
basically something that's not MDL.
yes. So what, like BC has a person credential. We have a digital business card when you own a company. Our land transfer association is issuing proof of owning a plot of land. In Vancouver, you can get a license, a credential that says you're allowed to do Airbnb short-term rentals. So that's an ecosystem of credentials that are different from an MDL, and MDoc doesn't seem to be picking up, and so we need something else for a broader community, and that's what I mean by where BBS I think comes in is it's competing with SD-JOTs, for example. That's what right now. That's what Germany's
What
using.
is competing with SD-JOTs?
What's that?
What is competing with SD-JOT?
BBS. What could compete with it is BBS with its various capabilities for a more general ecosystem. And in Germany right now, they're using SD-JOTs for that, for their where they've got 10 different credential types.
Yeah, see, this is from our perspective, as you know very well, we're interested in an abstraction that separates the cryptography from the credential formats, and that
100%.
sort of remains my focus here. So, that's an interesting thing that we've actually just been discussing is, if we target SD-JOT, for example, to our abstraction, then, you get that credential format, but you get rid of the linkability.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like
Um,
you're screwed on SD-JOT gives you no way to get to unlinkability except and there's no way to get to issuer verifier unlinkability, certainly. Um, but it forces you into something like batch issuance to get away from verifier to verifier linkability.
right. Um, Sorry for a slight non sequitur, but I just noticed that you say non-revocation under Longfellow ZK. I'm not super up to date with it, but they were certainly talking about revocation scheme at IIW
Sorry,
time
let's
before
put it
last
this
year.
way. Yeah, they have talked about it, but they haven't implemented it, from what I understand.
Okay.
And it would require a change to how MDL does revocation.
All right. Sorry for that distraction.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. And you're right. You're absolutely right. They have talked about, they've also talked about being able to do synonymous identifiers.
Mm,
Again, all of that would be based on, the issuer doing something different. And as it stands today, the issuer doesn't have to do anything different at all. All they do is issue it, and the Longfellow works between the wallet and the verifier. And that's the joy of it that I see.
Yeah.
But we want to get to, I mean, I had not heard until I talked to, went through those papers and talked to it that proof of possession had been done with BBS. I wish Mike is currently working on post-quantum stuff and all that. I would love to tell him, oh, Doc's already done this. How come you haven't? And challenge him into getting it done because I'm sure he could, if the papers are out there of how to do it, I'm sure he could get it done.
Yeah. You
Um,
can learn to do verification of encryption while you're there.
mhm.
I keep needing to remind him about that, but
Yeah,
we're all busy, so yeah.
yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, this is what, so in talking to Christian, so some interesting things came out. I was asking him what format they're moving towards with this work and sort of hoping and expecting they were going to say, you know, W3C VCs with data integrity. But he said that the BBS data integrity merges the attribute value with the attribute name. And so you can't do any of these types of things because you need the plain signed attribute. And so I looked into that and I had it explained to me actually. And the data integrity can do that, but not the way it's defined right now in the proposed BBS data integrity. But Dan Yamamoto in Japan has done it with data integrity and allowing for these types of um, attribute level zero knowledge proofs to be done. So one of the things I learned from that is we really want to push for attribute level signing so that these types of features, predicates, equality, verifiable encryption can be done. Because if not, we don't ever get to those. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, that's basically where we're at.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
we want to see all of that stuff working.
Yeah.
Everything else, in a way, is a stepping stone. And that's what I get. If MDL uses the Longfellow stuff, great, then people get used to a little bit more capabilities. But then when you start talking about even more capabilities, maybe they'll be willing to listen.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the equality proof, I think, is a big one because now you can say, here's proof that I'm a lawyer and proof that I'm a resident of British Columbia, but I don't have to tell you my name or anything like that. And but proof that they're the same name, that they're issued to the same person or something
Right.
like that. Anyway, and then the verifiable encryption, the auditing capability that opens up. Um, yeah, I'm trying to figure out. I'm sort of seeing it that there's the cryptography, there's the signing of messages and proving them. There's the um, construction of messages, which is the are you signing a set of values or are you signing an individual? Are you signing the individual attributes so you can do these predicates? There's the encoding that lets you know, oh, by the way, this is a public key that we verified as a hardware key, is hardware bound, and therefore we can use it to do proof of possession. This is the root of a blinded pseudonymous identifier. And so you use this attribute. All of those are sort of at the encoding level that issuers, holders, and verifiers have to understand because that's the only way they can use those in those ways. And then finally, you get to the top level, which is okay, here's how you use each of those things to enable all of these features. And what I'm trying to figure out is how we can bring the various people working on BBS together so that we can get it so that it's generally useful for everybody in an interoperable way.
Right. It's who in my world, the only people I know doing work on BPS are Lavesh and Mike and Dan Yamamoto.
Ah, no, there's more than that. Obviously, the Anna Lehman in Germany with a bunch of cohorts. Christian says he knows of companies that are building things out in Europe, but they're still sort of figuring out how they're doing it. Um, so there is a few more than that, and there's interest in doing more. There's the Digital Bazaar folks, the W3C side. One of the other things that Christian told me was that they're moving to using JSON web proofs as the credential format. And that comes down to a battle between the lovers of JSON LD and the haters.
Yeah, been
And
there.
that basically splits the community in half right there.
Yeah.
Because if you go to JSON web proofs and say, okay, that's what we're going to settle on as our format, well, Digital Bazaar and the folks at W3C are not going to participate. And if you pick W3C, then the OpenID folks that promote JSON web proofs and others are not going to participate, even though their goals are exactly the same.
Tribal.
Yep. Yeah.
Hmm. I don't know. I still feel like we're often mixing formats and cryptographic features that ought to have an abstraction layer between them, which of course is
Yes.
what we're working on. But
Yep.
um, I don't know, some of the things I'm hearing here make me feel like it's possibly a consequence of not having that separation.
Yeah.
Um, I I wouldn't mind if you were able to provide some more sort of concrete links to something about what you were saying about um, the thoughts around signing individual attributes and encoding attributes. I didn't really quite follow what you said there, and I'd
Okay.
like to understand that a bit more.
Yeah, I can add the two links. I can find the one pretty quickly. But essentially the JSON when the in the data integrity BBS library that Digital Bazaar and Greg Bernstein and others have worked on, the when they normalize the data for signing, they convert it into quads, which consists of at least, I'm not sure what all four of them are, but at least one is the attribute name and the attribute value, plus two
Mhm.
other things. And then those things together get signed.
Mhm.
And what Dan does is he does that same normalization, but then signs each of them individually so that you can go to the attribute of the array of messages and handle that individually. So that
I get you.
allows,
So you're not necessarily saying that they're signed individually, but those four pieces are considered as separate attributes so that you can see the attribute name of one thing without you can disclose its name without disclosing its value, or disclose its name and do a range proof about its value, for example.
exactly. With Dan's work, you can do all of those things, yes. But at the cost of it's more complex because you got to show that, oh, this attribute name and this attribute value are connected together. I don't know if that why that makes it more complicated, but that's evidently. So I can send you a link to the what Digital Bazaar called the MVP for doing a BBS data integrity crypto suite, and then what Dan Yamamoto's done for a data integrity crypto suite, where Dan supports all of these features, but the other one, the Digital Bazaar one, does not.
Okay. Sounds good. Thanks.
But I think this we need to push that this be the minimum because there's a lot of value in being able to do these things. This
What
next
is
one, I just don't know what to do with. Um, Basically coming to this realization, I was having a signal chat with Christian today that came up with this. Yeah, we've got these two worlds that are trying to get to the same place, but one of them insists that there must be JSON LD and the other insists there must not be.
Mhm. That's kind of what motivated our work when we were seeing
Yeah,
those discussions a couple of years ago, saying this does not make any sense. There needs to be abstraction.
yep, yep,
Yeah, for us, it's just like what are the capabilities and implementing them either with different crypto libraries and then however you want to express that with whatever format, that's a whole other ball game.
yeah, yeah,
Unfortunately, we still seem to be a minority voice.
yeah. Um, are you working on now that you know Doc Networks has this proof of possession? Are you working on the abstraction for that so you can include it?
Um, Thinking about working on it,
Yeah.
not actively working on it at this stage.
Okay.
At the moment, we're settling into our new organization. We're
Yeah.
writing up some of the stuff that we've done before, and we're also still hoping, and unfortunately, I said this a month ago, and I'll say it again now. We're still hoping to get permission to open source our work on implementing AnonCreds
Yeah.
one over our abstraction,
Yeah.
uh, but it's taking some time, I guess.
Yeah.
By the way, just a sort of small typographical thing. You should write doc network singular as one word.
Oh, well, there you go. Like
There
that.
you
Capital N.
That's how I usually do it. I
Yeah.
think I'm not sure that you can have capitals in a GitHub repo, so but no, so it's all one word, all lowercase in their GitHub account, and then the company is just doc, right? So if you're saying doc network, I think you should say one word, doc
Yeah.
network.
Is this them?
Yeah.
Truvera. Oh, I see, by Doc Labs.
Yeah, if you somewhere there should be a GitHub link and
There we go.
right. So that's the company, but the
Yeah.
actual library is yeah,
Doc
there you go.
Network. There you
Yeah.
go. Okay. Oh, it's their GitHub organization, is that? Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so their library is actually called crypto, which is not super descriptive. So you always just say doc network crypto and then we
Yeah,
abbreviate it as DNC. Yeah.
got it.
Want to look right there, you've got equality across groups. About halfway down that list, there's a directory equality across groups. A little further
Yeah.
down there. That's it.
Oh, I see. Interesting. Yep. UBQ.
We keep hearing things like from Richard Esplin, like that Lavesh isn't too involved. He's doing something else, but then all of a sudden he sneaks something like this in.
Fascinating. There's another group in Europe that is BBS Sharp. You've heard of them?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that has, I believe, similar capabilities of proof of possession.
Yeah. So is there some shared DNA between these things? The 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 thing that I don't know how to pronounce, Harold just had a go at pronouncing it, UBQ or something like that.
Yeah, UBQ, I think.
I'm not quite sure what the BBS Sharp is something like from Orange Labs, is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then is that you
Oh, go ahead.
well, I can't because I can't quite think what I'm trying to say. I'm
Familiar.
just trying to,
I can do things like that.
yeah, and I'm getting medical advice in response to the searches that I'm trying to do, so that's not going so well.
Oh, this was it. Here's where the UBQ.
Uh,
Interesting.
yeah, so the paper that I think does, some of the foundational pieces of this equality across groups was done by folks affiliated with UBQ, I think. And then if you go and look at, so basically they and the Doc Network repo sort of credit each other, but the
Yeah.
UBQ one says if you want a more sort of professional production quality implementation, go and look at Lavesh's, which is the one I just pointed out
Okay.
to you.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, but I don't know, I just have difficulty keeping all of the names and concepts and connections between them in my head.
Yeah.
When I say I have difficulty, what I mean is I can't do that.
Well, I'm trying to see if I can convince, since Christian seems to be in the middle of it in what's happening in Europe, I really would love to see if we can build up a community that's a little larger than this, that brings the groups together. But as I say, I'm petrified that this issue kills it. However, we'll see.
Yeah. Well, I guess there's things that are going to happen in different time frames, and some things are going to survive, and some things are going to
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Um, who knows? But I doubt that the world is going to pick and agree on a winner, and that's the answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can apply that sentence in pretty much any context I can think of.
I don't know. All right. Well,
It's
that's all
encouraging
I
to
had.
see. Yeah. Okay. Well, good to catch up.
Yeah. We won't have this meeting next month because I won't be around for it.
That's right. It'll be thing at Christmas.
Yes, it will. So have a delightful, I'm sure we'll be in touch overall
Yeah.
and chat about other things. Oh, you know what? I'm going to pause the recording for a sec.
He's going to swear at us.
I am not. All right. Well, we'll leave it at that.
Okay, great. Happy holidays.
You too.
Good to see you.
Take care.
Yeah.
See ya.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.